You've probably heard the hype, right? You've seen the incredible before and after photos. But what is actually going on inside your body when you go on the keto diet? Well, today we're going to strip away all the buzzwords and look at the real biological chain reaction that kicks off from the very first hour. And it all starts with a pretty dramatic survival response. I mean, wow, that sounds incredibly intense, doesn't it? But honestly, it's a perfect way to describe the emergency state your body immediately enters. This isn't just switching up your meals. It's a fundamental, deep-level shift in your body's entire fuel source. And that shift begins with what your body perceives as a profound crisis. So those first few days, they are by far the most intense. This is the moment your body realizes its primary favorite fuel has completely vanished, and it has to scramble, and I mean scramble, for a backup plan. Think about it like this. Your body, and especially your brain, absolutely loves running on glucose from carbohydrates. It's easy, it's efficient, it's the gold standard for energy. When you suddenly cut carbs down to almost nothing, you're essentially pulling the plug on the main power grid, and you better believe the internal alarms start ringing almost immediately. What's really wild is just how quickly your body burns through its emergency reserves. See, your liver stores about a day's worth of glucose, but it's in a form called glycogen. For the first 24 hours or so, your liver just dumps all of this into your system to keep things running. But by day 3, that emergency tank is completely bone dry. Okay, so this is the secret behind that famously rapid weight loss people see in the first week. It all starts right here, with this single gram of stored glycogen. But believe it or not, it's not the glycogen itself that makes the number on the scale drop so fast. And here's the kicker. For every single gram of glycogen your body burns through, it releases about 3 grams of water that was attached to it. So that initial 5, 6, maybe even 10 pounds you might lose in the first week, it's almost entirely water weight, not fat. At least, not yet. So with all that emergency sugar gone, your body enters this really tough transition phase. It's now forced to create a completely new type of fuel from scratch. And that adjustment period, well, it can feel pretty miserable. This brings us to the most critical part of this whole crisis, your brain. Your brain is an energy hog, but it can't run on fat directly. And its absolute favorite food, glucose, is gone. This massive energy emergency is the trigger for one of the most drastic survival mechanisms your body has. And your liver becomes the hero of the story. It kicks into high gear with a process called ketogenesis, frantically breaking down fats into these special little energy molecules called ketones. These guys are the alternative fuel that can actually cross the blood-brain barrier and keep your brain from shutting down. And here they are, the 3 main players. You've got acetoacetate, which is the first one made. Then your body creates beta-hydroxybutyrate, which becomes the real powerhouse fuel for your brain and muscles. And then there's acetone. And yes, I mean exactly like the stuff in nail polish remover. It's a byproduct that isn't really used for energy, and it's responsible for that distinct fruity or metallic keto breath some people get. Your body is literally exhaling a component of nail polish remover. Wild, right? So, as your brain is struggling to learn how to run on this new fuel, you get the infamous keto flu. Now, you're not actually sick. This is just the feeling of your brain and body stumbling through this really awkward adjustment. It's also often a massive sign of electrolyte depletion, because your kidneys are flushing out way more sodium and water than usual. But if you can push through that keto flu, your body enters a whole new phase. After a few weeks, it becomes what we call fat adapted. And this isn't just about making ketones anymore. This is a systemic change in how your entire body's operating system works. This is where the really big changes happen. Insulin levels plummet, which is the green light for your body to burn stored fat for fuel. Your hunger can actually decrease because ketones and all that fat are great at suppressing appetite hormones. Even your sleep might get a little weird for a bit before it gets better. It's a total metabolic overhaul. So, what happens when you try to work out? Well, it's kind of a mixed bag. Fat is a slow-burning, steady fuel. Think of it like a big log on a fire. It burns for a long, long time. That's awesome for endurance, like a long run. But for explosive power, like a heavy lift or a sprint, glucose is king. Fat just can't be converted to energy fast enough for that kind of intensity. This also explains a common visual change people notice. Since your muscles aren't holding on to all that glycogen and water we talked about earlier, they can look smaller, less full.
It's not that you've lost actual muscle mass, but that pump and volume just isn't there in the same way.
Okay, so let's get real. Beyond the initial shock and adaptation, what are the long-term realities of living this way? Let's break down the good, the bad, and the areas where we're all still kind of figuring things out. Now, for some people, especially those who might be metabolically unhealthy to begin with, the results can be pretty amazing. We often see huge improvements in key markers for heart disease, like triglycerides plummeting and HDL, the good cholesterol, going up. But it is definitely not all good news. The response of LDL, the so-called bad cholesterol, is a total wild card. It can go up, down, or stay the same. Digestive issues are super common as your body tries to handle all that fat. And we're only just beginning to understand how drastically this diet changes your gut bacteria, which could have long-term effects on, well, everything. And we really can't ignore the psychological and social side of this. Let's be honest, this is one of the most restrictive diets out there. Social events, family dinners, birthday parties, they all become these complex, stressful challenges. It can make for a really complicated relationship with food. So, with everything we've just covered, where does keto actually fit in? Is it this revolutionary health strategy we've all been waiting for, or is it just another passing trend? This right here puts it all into perspective. Your body's ability to run on ketones is a brilliant evolutionary adaptation designed to keep you from starving to death. It's a backup generator. But just because you have a backup generator, does that mean you should run your entire house on it 24/7? Maybe not. The big takeaway here is that keto seems to be a very specific tool for very specific conditions. For some medical issues like drug-resistant epilepsy or managing type 2 diabetes, it can be a really powerful therapeutic approach. But for a generally healthy, active person who just wants to lose a few pounds, it's probably a much more difficult and complicated option than it needs to be. So I'll just leave you with this question to think about. Considering the profound metabolic shift, the difficult adaptation period, and the long-term restrictions, is forcing your body into this ancient survival state worth it for your goals? The answer, of course, is going to be deeply personal.